I'm at our model 4452, and it's our model 4452 with our holiday bundle. And so the 4452 actually does have more stitches than any of our other machines that I'm showing you today. And what it does is, not only do I have a black and then a blue stretch stitch like we used before, so I use that blue stretch stitch, but I also have a red set of stretch stitches. So again, every black and blue stitch has a red stitch to go with it. So basically you have triple the stitches as we had at the beginning. And some of those stretch stitches, I will say, it's kind of interesting. I'm going to show you this, but I'm going to show you the sample and then I'm going to demonstrate it. But this is, I don't know if you can see some of those stitches. I'm going to try and just turn it. See how you can see that? These are some of the decorative stitches. These are what we call crazy patch stitches for quilters. They actually use that to go through. I did it on just a little sample here, but really fun stitches. You can use specialty threads. You can use, meaning like variegated threads to do all of your quilting. And it's not just the boring straight stitch. Look at all those fun little things. So it's really cool. And guess what? The 4452 has so many decorative stitches for you to use. So if you want to work with those, what I do kind of change the amount of pressure on my presser foot. It just lets it flow through a little bit better. I'm going to choose one of my favorites. Actually, I was working with someone today. I'm going to go back to the blue stitch for just a minute. And you know what? I'm going to diverge from what I was going to do because I want you to see this stitch. So instead of using my little quilted piece here, I'm just going to use a regular piece of just pink fabric. So that way we can see what's going on. And then I've got my decorative stitch, and today's my day not to turn on width. I got to turn on that width to make sure that it's a little bit wide, and here we go. And one of the other cool things, do you notice on all of our machines, I haven't been like driving. For any of you who are sewists that have older machines, that you drive your fabric, you have to sit there and help it, try and get in, try and move. You don't have to do that with our Singer heavy duty machines. Isn't that great? I just kind of guide. I don't drive anymore. I just guide. So this is called a honeycomb stitch. I just think it's so pretty. And again, hopefully you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Isn't that a pretty little stitch? And this stitch is so great for crazy quilting, or crazy patch with quilting, but also to put on elastic because it's a stretch stitch. So adding elastic, what a fun way to do something like that. I'm going to choose another. I was playing with these earlier. This one. This is a really kind of cool stitch too. So all right. So here's the problem with these great stitches like this. You can just sit here and sew them all day. So I won't do that to you, but look at that one. Isn't that one pretty? I think it looks like rickrack. Just really nice little stitch. So again, lots of options, lots of different things you can do with your decorative stitching, those extra stitches here, but also with, now I've been remiss, I haven't really said, all of our Singer machines, they come with like extra bobbins, they come with a zipper foot, that button sew-on foot, a screwdriver, they come with, your buttonhole foot, an extra set of needles. It has a quilting guide. So all of our machines have that. With the new, with the Singer Holiday Bundle, this is actually pretty special, guys. And one of the cool things that it has is it has this nice extension table. Have you noticed I've got a bigger workspace? So that is coming with the holiday bundle. And so that is really cool. Pardon me, there is an extra set of needles. These are heavy duty needles, a little bit heavier for working with denim and that sort of thing. This is a dual feed walking foot. If you're doing a lot of quilting, that's really great for that. There is basically with this foot, that's what I was trying to do, is get up close for this foot. It has a slick coating on the back. And so if you're working on, let's say real leather, you were working with leather on metal with your normal metal foot can stick, this slides right over it. So it's a really easy foot to work with. Suedes, same thing. And even cork, if you're going to play with cork, right? So if you're playing a little bit with cork or with foot is great for that. That comes with the holiday bundle. So that is something that's really, really cool. So I talked about the needles. We talked about the walking foot. What I wanted to start and why I wanted to, besides the decorative stitching, one of the cool things that the holiday bundle gives you, this is kind of an interesting tool. It is called a clearance plate. And this tool, it has a little opening. It's going to be hard to see, but you see, yeah, maybe a little opening at that, just a little bitty hole. That's to help you put in a needle on your machine, which is actually very nice because sometimes it's hard to get that needle all the way up. So this does a great job with that. But what the clearance plate is really known for is, here I've got some denim, but what I want you to look at, and we're going to make, can you see how that looks like a jeans hem? So it's like many layers of denim here, and it looks like the side of a pair of jeans. Let's check this out. So I've got my little piece of denim. I'm going to go back to a straight stitch. So everything's set back to a straight stitch. When I am, so I'm just going to fold this. Actually, I'm going to do it the proper way for us today. I'm just going to make a seam across here. So I folded this in half. I'm going to make a seam. When I am working on denim, everybody, I do make my stitch length just a little bit longer than what I normally would for sewing. Normal sewing length for most machines and for our Singer machines is 2.5. I take this up to 3 for working with denim. So now that I've got my seam, I'm just going to fold the seam over. This is what's called a flat fell seam. So that's what you see on denim. So I'm going to just sew that as well. Now I'm doing a little trick in the background here. Your 4452 actually, it has needle positions. So for the one side, I took my needle position to the left. Now I'm taking my needle position to the right. Again, cool thing as you're going up the line with our Singer machines, you get, again, more options, right? So there is, and there we go. So you can see that looks like a flat fill seam. It's like what's on the side of your jeans. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to fold this up once. So I have 3 layers of denim right here. Here I have 6, and there I have 9 layers. Okay, so I now have 9 layers of denim, and I'm going to kind of work this way in. I'm going to go back to a center needle position. But remember, everybody, I mentioned, actually, and I'm going to make sure if this was a real pair of jeans, I couldn't sew it that way. I'd have to sew it this way, because you'd have your cuff in here. So I'd want to make sure that I have the cuff in there. So once I have this set up, remember I started this whole conversation about this because of this little clearance plate. I'm going to show you how that works. So first we're going to start sewing. And I'm going to sew right up to my really thick piece of denim. I went ahead and I placed that clearance plate underneath the back of the foot and then lower my presser foot. And remember, this clearance plate is coming with the 4452 holiday bundle. Now here's the cool part. The foot is now at the height of that seam, so it can go right through. And then before I go the other way, I'm actually going to put it in the front of the foot. And you do have to be a little careful because guess what? Our machines are strong enough that it'll go right through that piece of, right through your clearance plate. But once I'm done there, I just take it out, put the presser foot back down, and I keep on sewing. That's the beautiful part of working not only with the heavy duty 4452, but that little clearance plate, look at that. Isn't that amazing how it just went right up and over, didn't hesitate at all. And just so, you know, as we were going, what we did is we were sewing this away. And so when we got to that point, I put clearance plate under one way and kept sewing over the top, and then came back and put it this way. So that clearance plate is fabulous for any seams. It doesn't even have to be on denim. Let's say you're making a bag. The clearance plate is great to help you go over any sort of really heavy places that you're going over a seam, going from not so heavy to back to not so heavy. So remember, everybody, the clearance plate coming with our 4452 for the holidays. So that's kind of